Hello, Yawning Angel back again with another Elite on the BBC Master video. This is video number 2 in a 2, maybe 3-part series. We'll talk more on that later. If you've not seen part 1, I'll put a link up here so you can go and see that video. And in that video, I was looking at getting Elite for, this is a BBC Model B version, to run from floppy on the Master. It didn't work. We then managed to get a version for the Master on SD card using the MMFS system. And whilst it would load and run to a degree, it still needed a floppy disk to access data from. And because it was running from SD card, that wasn't going to work. So whilst we could buy stock and get our ship ready to launch, we couldn't actually launch from the space station. What's the good in that? So in this video, what I'm going to do is get the master version of Elite, which is currently residing on SD card, and get it onto a floppy disk, so we should be able to run it from there. Now remember, this is exclusively the BBC Master version of Elite, not the BBC Model B version. So without further ado, let's get on and see how I do that. Okay, for this next bit, I need to explain, I need to use a modern desktop computer to go on the internet and get hold of the program that I need to run on the master to initiate the file transfer from the SD card under MMFS onto the floppy disk. So this may get a little bit confusing, but sit tight and stick with me and we'll get there. Okay? So going on to GitHub and looking at the MMFS wiki, there's a page there which tells you which programs you need to transfer files. There's IDTOM, which will copy data from a floppy to an SD card. And then there's IMTOD, which will copy from an SD card to a floppy. And this is the program that I needed. So after some hunting around, I found the source code, which in this repository by David Banks, I believe he might have been the person who wrote this code. This is the program, the IMTOD program, which will read data from the SD card and write it out to a floppy disk. And this is just a basic program, 68 lines of code. As you can see here, it reads tracks, it writes stuff out. This is exactly the program I wanted. So what I need to do now is get hold of this and get this somehow onto the master. So I headed off to look for a download. And after doing a quick search here, looking through the repository, I found the file, which I selected. You can then download this onto your computer, which I managed to do okay. Once it was downloaded, it was a case of, so what do I do with it now? So I got the file downloaded and it was a case of on my Mac, double click it, open it up and see, oh my God, what a mess. So this had not come down properly. I was expecting a text file here, but look, there's just loads of open space, there's corrupt characters. I'm not tidying this up when I could quite easily, see the source code in my browser. So after a bit of deliberation here, I thought, well, let's just change it to a .txt file and see if that sorts the formatting out. Ever the optimist me. So I made this change, opened it up, and guess what? It made absolutely no difference whatsoever. So I'm still stuck with a load of corrupted code here. I can't use this. So I need to come up with another way of getting hold of this. So with that in mind, it was back to GitHub, and here's the source code here. I thought, you know what, why don't I just copy it? Copy it from the browser, which is what I do here, and dump that into a text edit program. Just dump that out straight into there, which is what I do. There we go, a little bit of copy and paste action for you, and just get the code into a blank document. And from there, print it out, and I could just key the code in myself on the master. It's basic, it's a Heath Robinson approach, but you know what? It's the best way of doing it. It's only 68 lines of code. It's a bit of fun keying some code into the master itself. So it was just a case of dumping it out. I think it's just over a page worth of text, as you'll see shortly. So I could just key this straight in and run it directly from there. Job done. Let's just keep things simple. Start Before I could start keying it in, I needed to create a slot on the SD card where I could save this basic program to. So I prepared slot 360. I formatted it as a drive. I think I 40 track drive. So this gives me a slot on the SD card I can now save basic code to, because I like to save my programs. I don't want to keep on typing stuff in from scratch every time I want to use something. So this is what I did here. Cool, let's check that works. Cat. Excellent. And this was the printout, as I said, just over a page and a quarter probably of basic code. You know, this is old school way of doing it, but here's the program listing, so I can now just read through this and just key this in manually onto the master. This is a quiet Sunday afternoon job, and do you know, it's actually quite therapeutic sometimes just to key stuff in, and also you get an understanding of what the code is doing. You understand line by line what each bit of the code does and how it works. So it's a win-win situation. Right, on the master then. So I did actually, before I started filming, I did key some code in, got to line 110, so I start again from line 120. I'm telling you, the auto numbering system on the master is fantastic. Love that. Anyway, so it was just a case of plodding through the code line by line, entering, you know, all the stuff. Also, it was a good experience finding out where some of the special symbols are on the keyboard on the master. It took me a while to do, but you know, it was worthwhile. One thing I do want to point out here, so the program was designed for an 80-track drive. I've only got a 40-track drive, so later on I did actually change line 10 to be track, set the track number to 40, and that seemed to work okay. But anyway, onwards really, just keying this code in and getting it all done. With the program written and saved, I now needed to format a physical 5 1/4 inch floppy disk. Yes, a real floppy disk. I did this, set this as a 40-track floppy, did this on the master. I managed to get a load of floppy disks brand new off of a famous auction site, and they all seem to work, which is brilliant. So here we are, getting the disk ready for the transfer. It's working. Excellent. Now, the bit we've all been waiting for, with the program code there, I just now needed to save that out. This is on slot 360 on the SD card, because I wasn't typing all that lot in again. I then needed to just double check where my copy of Elite was on the SD card. I do believe that's in slot 322. So, yep, there it is. And now it's just a case of getting ready to run that transfer program. So I didn't call it IMTOD or whatever. I called it SD copy because the name is irrelevant. It's doing the same job. So disk goes in the disk drive, and now we run the program. Quick listing first, make sure it's still in memory, run it, and here we go. So we're asked for the source MMFS slot, so 322, that's where I had my version of Elite. It's going to a physical drive 0, punch the 0, and let's see what happens. And disk drive whirs into life, and it starts writing data. Amazing. I was so happy when this actually worked. It was just, I've come so far, and now here we are. We're actually transferring out to a floppy disk. Really, really happy about that. How's that? Yes. Okay. With the transfer done, let's have a quick look. No yawning angel, that's slot 322 and not the actual floppy, so you really need to look in the right place. So we'll change over to the floppy. So just basically reboot the master if that's possible. Starcat then will give us the contents of the floppy disk, and there it is. Look, it's written out. Drive 0, we've got Elite. It's there on floppy. Will it run? So shift break to run the boot sequence. We'll see us going. Here it goes. It runs. We're there. It's running. Happy days. Look at that. It's running. Right. Okay, look at that. We're in. We've got that running. So I don't want to load a new commander as much as I'd like to. Right, let's see what we can do. Short range chart, let's give this a test. So I think Leasty is industrial, that's good, we'll go there. So we'll buy cargo. Let's buy a load of food. That's all good. We need to equip the ship. Equip ship, we'll buy an extra missile because you never know. It's a rough universe. Okay, so I've got that. I'm all set to go to Leasty. Right, nervous. So hopefully when I press launch on F0, this should actually launch me and I should be able to leave the station. Let's do it. Fingers crossed, everyone. Hang on, Commander. Here we go. Yes, yes, yes. We are out of the station. We are out of the station. So now if I hit hyperspace, we're going to hyperspace, going to Leasty. This is working. 4, 3, 2, 1. Disk access again. We're right here. Look at that. Only got to made it. Right, let's line up. J for jump. Oh, something's come into range. It's full speed. Let's get to that station. This is working. We've got a fully running version of Elite. Oh, something's in my way. I can't jump. Just got to hover around here now. Hover, well, fly around here and get for the station to crop up. Of course, no docking computers. So this is going to be a bit of a long wait. So let's fast forward things. Oh, hang on, something's after me. What's going on? Oi! Chill out. Target missiles. Oh man, no ways. Can you believe it? No ways. Taken out on my first trip to Leasty. Come on. Oh man. Ah, that was fun. Yeah, I liked that. That was good. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. But before I go, I did want to mention that Mark Moxon has actually released a Flickr-free version of Elite now for various systems, and I want to try and get hold of that and possibly use that for a part 3 video. It was released while I was putting all the footage together for this video, so I couldn't include it. There wasn't enough time, but I will try and get hold of it. So watch out for that. By the way, this is paused. The game hasn't crashed. I just didn't want to be filming this and slam my Cobra into the side of the Coriolis space station while filming. That would have been quite embarrassing. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching these videos. If you like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. There's a link up here to some more BBC Master videos that I've done. There'll be more to come in the future. Thanks once again for watching. Take care, and whatever you do, keep it retro.